I just posted a poll on my Instagram where I asked all my followers which of two mushroom mugs they like the most. But what I didn't tell them is that one took 30 minutes to make, but the other one took 10 hours to make. I really just wanted to get that immediate response and see what the emotional impact is without getting skewed by perhaps the craftsmanship that went into it or the effort, which are important factors. But I wanted to see how each mug would stand on their own. I am really excited to see what the result of this poll is going to be, but it takes 24 hours. So while I wait for the results to come in, I thought I'd show you which two mugs I'm talking about. So let's start with the 10-hour mug. So my love of mushrooms and particularly mushroom foraging was what inspired this one. I wanted it to sort of mimic a journey into the woods in a way where no matter where you look, there is something new to discover. Started by illustrating these raindrops on the inside because, well, I love rain and I connect mushroom foraging with rain. It doesn't always rain when I go out foraging, but it has usually rained the days before because that's when it's a good time to go. One of the reasons this mug took longer to illustrate was that I had sculpted these little sharps and I wasn't very smart about this design. I totally should have fired and decorated these separately and then attached them with those little like jewelry attach thingies. It would have saved me a lot of time and also I still risk them kind of getting stuck in the glaze fire. So yeah, these added a lot of times and were really annoying. Definitely a design flaw, but such is life. But this is not the only reason why this took a long time to illustrate. I have sort of developed my own technique where I will start going over with the underglaze pencils and the underglaze pencils will not burn away in the kiln. So everything you see here will stay even though it will change a little bit. But I will begin going over with underglaze pencils and then I will add a layer of underglaze, just really watered down, just to get a little bit tint of color. And then I go back with the pencils again and just make what I want to make pop and what I want to blend more into the background do so, which allows you to do a lot of details in a way that usually fires really well, but it is very time consuming and definitely not for the faint of heart. But that's why this mug took 10 hours to make. Remember that I wanted this mug to feel like a journey or a story, and I definitely think it succeeded with that. It has so many things to both look at and feel and fiddle with. So it has both like tactile and visual elements that I find interesting, including this little rain jacket that came off from the bottom, unfortunately, but I realized it's a pretty fun rain jacket spoon. I mean, I think it's kind of hilarious. I don't know. And, yeah, with that, let's move on to the 30-minute mug. For my second mug, I wanted something simpler and more comforting, inspired by one of my favorite mushrooms, the Persini. This little haul is actually just from my local forest yesterday. Took a quick little walk around and I found a lot of Persini, which I am planning to prep and freeze so that I can enjoy them all winter long, perhaps even in the mug that we are about to make. I've actually walked around with this mug design in my inner eye for a while, and it was just a repeating pattern of Persini made very intuitively with my ceramic underglaze crayons. I love the crayons. For me, they are really comforting, not only to use, but how they end up looking because they have that like nostalgic, childish feeling about them. The lines are really thick and it's very, hard to make a really nice straight line. And I don't even try. I lean into what the crayon have to offer. I actually only used to make like really highly detailed designs like in the first mug. And though I appreciate a lot what that mug is and what I do with it, I've come to learn to appreciate making simple designs in ceramics, and there are two main reasons for that. First one has to do with reducing your stress levels, because this is the thing with ceramics, like just like any other art form, like if you're making a painting, and I think a lot of painters can relate to this. Like you will make, some paintings that don't work out, even though you spent so much time with them. But the difference with paintings is that you can always go back and sort of revive them and rework them. But if you glaze a piece of ceramics and the glaze ruins it, or you realize that you don't like it, you can't really do anything about it, which means that the funnel of really good work that comes out is a lot smaller than even a painter. I would guess, or that's how I feel when it comes to drawing on paper at least. So being able to like mix in these sort of repetitive designs, which most of the time are going to work and they're not like a huge time investment, and you can work much more intuitively and freely, is actually so good for, at least has been so good for like my feeling of satisfaction in ceramic, and it gives me more energy to experiment and to push through more challenging work. Also, I think it's worth noting that if you're trying to run a small business and you're making income from your ceramics, it also does make sense from a business perspective to have some things you can actually rely on. It's going to turn out good for you and the customers. But here are the two mug finished. They're before glazing. As a little experiment, if you want to pause the video or just look at these two designs and decide for yourself which one you like the most before you hear the result of the poll, you can do so. Personally, I don't have a favorite. I really enjoy both of them in two different ways. I do think the Porcini mug have the strength of having that like immediate visual impact that you get from very simple things, a lot of times even more so than very detailed things, whereas the more detailed foraging mug has that feeling of being a whole experience or being a story that you get to experience. So the results from the poll are in, and I was really surprised by the results actually. 93 people voted in total, and out of 93 people, 43 people voted for the foraging mug, and 50 people voted for the Proscini mug. So it was a really, really close call, but it turned out that the Proscini mug was still a small favorite. And I do think that is so interesting, and it just shows that what people emotionally connect with doesn't really have to do anything with how many hours you put into something. It's more about that immediate connection. But I would love to hear what you think. Do you agree with the results? If you do, please let me know. If you don't, please also let me know. If it's just over there at Instagram or if you feel differently over here. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you soon again. Bye!